There we go. Can you hear me?
You sound great.
I'm the winner.
You are the winner. You look cool. It's so happy to see you.
How's my lighting? There's a lot of it.
Lighting's great. You look very well lit, actually, better than I. I don't know if Kenny's. Let me call him.
I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if you wouldn't show up to an online meeting.
Of course not. He proposed. This is the time that he proposed, by the way.
Please leave your message for Kurt Nitro.
I hope that Stunning!
Hi.
I love the backdrop.
Thank you.
Oh my God, he's in the waiting room. This is astonishing.
You're like blending in with the table, ma'am.
You are.
So sometimes
Am I?
just your head.
It's a green screen.
We figured.
Oh my God! Hi.
Hi.
How we doing?
Right back at you guys. How's everyone doing? I'm good. Fine.
Good. Oh my gosh.
It's
Guys,
been a minute.
It's been a minute. Thank you for all
Where
joining.
the hell are you, Breezy?
Breezy's in the studio.
I'm in the studio laying down some tracks.
LDVR, what, LDVR or whatever? What is it?
ASMR?
No.
Thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
From the bottom of my heart. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really know why, but here we are. Okay, so thank you very much. So basically what I would like to use this time for.
I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Okay, so this is being recorded, so just FYI. And
We didn't
basically
sign a waiver.
This is one of the states you have to inform people that they're being recorded.
oh,
Yeah.
well, you're being recorded. And I would just like a verbal confirmation that you are
I consent.
I'll have my people call your people.
So basically, I'm trying to move some product.
Well, he got bored quick.
Because I heard what I said. I'm like, what a douche. Anyway, yeah, you're trying to move some products. Go on.
So I don't know how I'm going to keep a straight face during this. Okay. So we're basically going to talk about, I want to talk about the books and kind of everything that goes into that. So kind of how we all got to meet, fun memories that we'd like to share, kind of the inspiration for everything, and things about perspective and all this stuff. But it'll be very it's a conversation, so don't feel like you're being interviewed or anything. It'll just
I feel like I'm in a job interview.
Yeah, I'm like, good luck on using any of this
I
stuff
have to
because we're all
prepare
just gonna be
questions for
cracking
the
up.
end.
So don't talk over each other. That's the first rule. The first thing I would like to talk about is, I think I would like for me to kind of tell you guys and I haven't really prepared a ton for this because I really want it to be on the fly, but I want to kind of start to go around our first kind of impressions, and then, me kind of going into that. And if you guys would like to share your first impressions of each other or us or anyone, then feel free. But so just to set the stage for all of our listeners and possibly viewers, we all went to college together at DeSales University, class of 2010. College was just I was very nervous to go, you know what I mean? And I think that I didn't really know what to expect, and I knew I would meet friends and it would be kind of fine, but I had no kind of idea of who those friends would be and kind of the shape that they would kind of take in my life, and I remember I met Breezy first. We met in a dorm room, and we just caught each other's eye and just started cracking up, which is still how it tends to go today. And then I met I think I met Courtney next. I mean, I might have, no, maybe I met, wait, I don't
I mean,
remember.
Kenny was in your dorm.
Yeah, maybe I met Kenny first. Ken, I don't have any recollection of us like meeting. Do you, like the first time we met, like on like the first day of like meeting, like, because we were suite mates.
That's right. We shared a bathroom.
I was gonna say you didn't run into each other over the urinal or something.
No, it's not exactly how I remember it, but I remember moving in and seeing Kyle and just going, "Hey, this kid's really skinny, and he seems really nice and just funny." And you just had like a bubbly personality, and I think that was just one of the things that I'm like, I don't know if he and I are gonna jive together because I'm just I'm fairly quiet. So that's kind of how at least I thought I was, and just kind of timid when I came into college. So
I guess I met you first then.
Assume so, because we didn't meet in the first.
I left
days.
quite an impression. I know.
I just remember having spoken to your roommate Andy and like on Facebook before we got there.
Spices.
Andy
Spicy.
But we didn't like, I don't know, we just didn't have any, but I guess we did meet, but I met Breezy like day 3, I'm sure. It was,
I remember
classes started.
I guess it was orientation still.
What, Ken?
I remember Andy talking to me and going, "Hey," because Andy and I went to high school together. So, and he only lived like a few miles away from me. And I remember we were hanging out during the summer before we came. And I remember Andy told me that, "Hey, this kid requested me on Facebook. His name's Kyle, and apparently I think he lives right next to us." So I'm like, oh, okay. So I knew about you through him, to be completely fair. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. So, and I just waited. I'm like, oh, we'll wait until we meet person. And I think that's when we connected on Facebook back when you needed a college ID in order to get to Facebook. So,
did you guys talk on AIM before you met?
No.
Maybe Andy and I communicated inside. I guess it was on Instant Messenger. Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knew that he would be such a big part of this conversation?
I did not see this coming.
But
I
then,
know that you went to high school with him, actually.
What? Oh yeah, totally.
I just thought you were randomly paired.
Oh yeah, no, he and I opted. We were talking. I've known Andy. He was in my 4th grade class together, and he was only about 2 miles away from my house. So
4th grade?
4th grade, yep.
And then you went right to college. That's awesome.
Great, go on.
So then I met Courtney because my parents hadn't brought my car yet, and I don't know why.
Courtney wheels blows.
And I was applying for a job at the Charlie Brown's in Allentown, and Breeze was like, "Oh, my friend Courtney."
I know a guy.
Yeah, that was a long drive also.
You must have really liked.
I must.
No, but that was the first time we like became acquainted.
Yes.
Yes.
And actually, I think Cher, remember Cher saw me driving with you, and she.
Cher, who?
Yeah, Cher, my mom's friend. Cher saw me.
Oh.
The singer.
And she asked who was in my car. She like saw another guy in my car because I had a boyfriend at the time.
Oh, scandalous.
Yeah. Small town.
I don't think I heard that story either. I am learning a lot today.
I remember that.
And it should be noted, this was pre-Uber, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
This was 2006.
I don't even think credit cards existed back then.
And you waited for me while I had the interview.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
We still go there because that's our sushi place now.
So anyway, Kenny and I became friends like toward the end of our freshman year. Court and Breezy and I were friends probably since the day that she gave me the ride. And then wait, Court, the birthday cake. My first kind of fun memory with Courtney was Breezy's birthday.
Really fun. Yeah.
which is always in early September every year.
It's always in September.
It's weird how it just falls.
Really soon after we had met this girl.
A weird conversation because I had to tell you it was my birthday. I was like, hey, we just met, but it's my birthday. Like, how did that conversation go?
And then tell them what happened. Tell the story, Breeze.
I didn't buy it, so I'll let you guys tell the story.
I know, but it's
That
funny.
was nice of us to get you cake.
Did I pay for it? I probably paid for it.
You mean your mom and dad paid for it?
No, so we went up and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna get this girl a cake. So obviously she has no friends yet. And we but what we did was we got the icing that Courtney and I preferred.
Yes.
Because there's more, it's 2 against 1.
But we did get you a small cake of what you wanted.
Oh my God, that was nice of us. So then we were like, okay, and then that kind of like really set the tone for the friendship, I feel.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then Ken and I became close, right? I think we became close after we decided to live together in our sophomore year of college, because I remember you would kind of like, because our bedrooms were conjoined by a bathroom. And this probably isn't how it happened, but you know how the memories that I remember, sometimes they don't happen. They're just kind of things that we've discussed.
Yes, alcohol is interesting like that. Go on.
But I just have like a memory or a vision of you like kind of like always coming into my room like Kramer, kind of just like like bursting through in all your lanky glory, and then like just kind of like saying something like mumbling and then like leaving, So
That's about it.
So, but I remember you kind of like burst in and you were like, so you want to be roommates?
That's pretty much how it happened.
And I
Like
was
verbatim. Yeah. I think it was literally like a Thursday and it was like 3 p.m.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I was going to ask you, and you just beat me to it. So it all kind of like really worked out.
You're going to ask him for the date and time?
Yeah, well, I don't know what kind of interview this is.
What day of the weekend? What time was that?
Thursday. And it was May the 3rd. Go on. Yeah, no, that's pretty much how it was. Rip the Band-Aid off, Kyle. Let's go. Beat to the punch. That's exactly. I was like, yeah. Secure this. We're losing spaces. We got that place up in Welsh that we got to go to, and Jeff's got to know today.
But I remember that summer was the first pool party that I had, and it was the 3 of you and Jeff were the ones who came. Yeah. The whole point of this is because I felt very connected to you guys in like right after that first year. I felt very comfortable, and I felt like I had really, or at least kind of hoped, maybe not thought fully, but like that these were like great new friendships that I would be kind of forging, and then I think like sophomore year, that was one of my favorites because I think our bond between the 4 of us in particular, like really strengthened and grew. And I just love the dynamic. And I kind of wanted to like talk about like the dynamic between us because I think I've used that to make money. I hate kind of talking in like archetypes because it like, really distills down a person to like, a title, and that's not, there's so much more dimension to all of us. But I think like in that time, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like Kenny was always kind of like the one that was just very into his own like things. Like you had your articulated hobbies with your speakers and your cars and kind of like
his iced tea.
Oh, I haven't touched that in so long, but go on. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Go ahead.
And you kind of marched to the beat of your own drummer a bit, right? Like you kind of weren't afraid to kind of do things like a little bit differently, and had a really, I think your mind and kind of perspective on the world has really expanded like since then. But you were like really like a picky eater, like anything. I think you resisted a lot of things that were kind of outside of your comfort zone.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, so the background story on me, what I always say is the fact that I just grew up in a very small town and like literally just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I just kind of surrounded myself with, like, I mean, I joke about it, but like my wife and I didn't even, we connected in college. And one of the talking points of that was the fact that, I didn't know what a Panera Bread was, which is a fast food establishment. And she looked at me with 5 eyes and she was like, "Are you what?" And I'm like, "No, I've never heard of it before." And she's like, "What?" And it's not like I haven't been out to travel or anything like that, but yeah, just kind of felt secluded.
Yeah.
And I think going to college, as I said a little bit before, was like kind of timid, and like I was timid. So I was just like, oh, reserved.
Yeah.
And just, I got my friends from college, like we really friends from high school in terms of like track group and cross country and stuff like that. But then I'm like, oh, okay, no, we're here at college. We're doing our own thing now. So we're starting anew. So that's when I'm like, okay, the boundaries come off, and then I started meeting really nice folks, and just started making new friendships. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's hang out with this guy, see what's going on. Oh, these 2 girls are great. And I'm like, oh, we got a good thing going here. So
I think the word that I would use to like describe you as like growth, I think, because you really went from one thing to, like, you still are who you are, right? You're at your core, like, you are still the same person who is like just a guy with like a really big heart and very selfless and very, again, still marching to the beat of your own drummer, but you really kind of have like an arc. You know what I mean? Like from where you started to where you are now. Like you really, I think.
Yeah, totally. If I stayed in my hometown, I wouldn't like the person who I am, who I would have been.
Yeah, but not just even like, like locationally, like just truly like your
word.
Locationally.
No, I completely agree. I believe you guys are pivotal in terms of my growth. So, and I not only you guys, the sales in itself, the people that we met and stuff like that, and I think that's important. So, but yeah,
and I think,
so, thank you.
You're welcome. And then I think Courtney, was always kind of in the same, similar in that she always knew exactly who she was. Like from the beginning, like I don't want to say that you've had like the least amount of growth in comparison to Kenny, but you didn't need to grow as much, right? Because you like are so tried and true in who you are. Like I think you are the person you've always been who you are. And I think that is such a respectable thing, because I think a lot of times life can knock a lot of people down and around and kind of make them question, what their purpose is or who they are. And you've never questioned who you are, from what I've known. And I think that's a really beautiful quality. And I think that and that's kind of like the behind the scenes, but in front of the camera, for argument's sake, you were always kind of the girl. I hate using this again. This is like the archetype thing, but you're always kind of like the good girl, right? And that was something that I really related to, because like, I think I've told you this before, but I think that like we would have been friends in high school, right? Like I think that we, had a lot and still have a lot of stuff in common. And so I think that was kind of your kind of the dynamic that you brought, like, and also the practical, like bringing the practical, like, I think it's such a great balance of Kenny's off doing like, something a little bit weird, and Kyle and Breeze are kind of like going off of each other, and Courtney was like, come, everyone just relax. You know what I mean? Like here's how it's gonna go.
I bring everyone back down.
Yeah, and that grounding force is so necessary, because otherwise we just be like,
it's not being fun. But
you're a ball.
I went into sales sort of with one goal, and that was to be a physician assistant. And I really wasn't sort of expecting, I loved high school, so I wasn't really expecting, I had a boyfriend from high school. I really wasn't there to sort of forge any crazy relationships. So I think it was a happy surprise, to sort of meet this crew. I met Sabrina my first day of orientation, and she's second. No, it was the first. We were in the same pod, pea pod, or whatever. And is it fate, whatever? I mean, she's my best friend, and now here we are 10 years later. Would that, the trajectory of how it gets there. But
I hate to tell you, but it's 16 years later.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm thinking from
Somebody's got a grasp on time. Sorry.
Isn't that sad? Oh my God.
So yeah, I feel like I'm probably a balancer. You guys tend to be a little bit more maybe outgoing, a little bit more wild. I'm a rule follower. I love rules. I don't like to break the rules. So I think probably sort of I'm very rational, bring everyone sort of back down situation.
Yeah.
That's probably the role I would play the most.
For sure. And I think it's so, like I said, it's such the glue, right? It's such an important piece in all of our relationships. Breezy, you are it's interesting because I'm so alike. I think me and each of you have so many things in common that are different from the other, right? And I think that you and I are probably the most alike, at our core. Do you know what I mean? I think we approach things like life probably in a similar way, and definitely have the same sense of humor, and it's like that. It's a really nice kind of it's kind of like going to improv class every time that we're together, because it's we just keep upping the ante. You know what I mean? Of everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It makes for a really fun relationship. And so I really brought away from when I was writing these books, which I'll get into, I really tried to instill all of those things I just mentioned into those characters. And you are someone who I just had this vision of you that was just kind of let's just go. Let's just kind of, because you do like a plan, you do, but you also like to be a little bit rash in the best way. And you know what I mean? And I think it's such an interesting kind of, dichotomy, those two things that you have. But I think it's just, it lends for a lot of comedy too. You're just a hoot.
Yeah. No, I could see that as kind of a balance where I'm kind of a bull in a china shop, but it's a very organized china shop. If that makes sense.
Remember,
Right.
you've never heard that before.
No, that's not the one.
Mm.
It was something different. Sometimes Courtney has these euphemisms that, I don't know, this Pennsylvania Dutch thing. I don't know about.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah. But I don't know, I feel like that kind of sums it up. And I think that was kind of we all had different pieces that we brought to the core of the four of us. And I think that we found that out a lot, especially sophomore year when we were kind of together most of the time and all going to dinner together, I think too. And I think that was, I would say that was probably when things started to kind of solidify with the four of us. And that's probably where you got a lot of our character arc, I would say, because, our personalities kind of came out, and also how different they are, but the similarities were what held us together, I think.
And, I think it's interesting about perspective, right? I mean, we all kind of agree that what we just kind of talked about is kind of the, the truth, right? But I think it's so interesting. I think about, what if Courtney would have written a book about us? How would those characters be? What's her perspective on how those characters would be, right? It might have been, it could be so conflated in a different way, or what the, because I think for me, so this is the first book that I wrote, Uncharted Waters. And I wrote this book when I was in Australia, my junior year. And I wrote it because it was probably one of the best times of my life, in that it was such a new kind of adventure outside of college, right? It was my first time living anywhere else. But with all those new experiences that I was having, and I was there for 5 months, there was a piece of me that missed you guys so much. like so much so that I felt compelled to like create a story about it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I dedicated this first book to you, because it's kind of like a love letter to all of you, you know, because of how impactful that our friendships, how the friendships were to me. I think it's kind of interesting how, you know, I could be so far away and still like not, you know, even living in another country couldn't like deter me from kind of
Thinking of little DeSales.
And so that was the inspiration. And like, you know, going back to perspective, like these, I mean, obviously the characters in the book are much exaggerated versions of us, but they, like our personalities, those exaggerated personalities kind of like told the story for me. Like I didn't, you know, it wasn't like, I mean, there's some plotting obviously, but it's really like the characters that shine because of how
Great we are.
How great you are.
How great thou art.
And then, you know, whatever, I just couldn't stop. So I did another book and this is like my favorite of the two. And I, you know, would even like to do, I'm kind of starting to plot. Oh, props.
Oh, the green screen doesn't like it.
Wait, hold them up again, Breeze. This is a good screenshot.
Well, it's hard to.
Her shirt, her green screen, everything is happening.
But you know, I want to do. I started plotting a third one, and it'll be like, you know, the third piece of the trilogy. Upon reading the first book, what was your guys' reaction to that? Any of your reactions to it?
I think it's difficult to read something that's based on you at first because you're just assuming that it's a very literal interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also the only one that the first name didn't have the first initial of the real person.
That's true. Fun fact.
And I did tell you that Amelia was my favorite name.
That's right.
And then you stole it.
No, it was in honor of you.
Yeah, it was in honor of.
I wasn't going to use it for any other purposes. maybe a goldfish or something. I don't know.
But yes, you are Amelia Columba.
Hermopolis.
But the other kind of like fifth main character in this book series is the Hamptons, right? And it's really because that, again, in my longing for you guys and our, you know, fun times together, that was another thing that I was not doing when I was in Australia because I was in Australia. And I was like, wow, how cool would it be to kind of merge those two worlds, you know, merge like you guys and the Hamptons. And then it's like, oh, it kind of like just starts to tell itself. We're kind of like taking Kenny's, like, because you worked as didn't you work as a landscaper a couple summers?
Yeah, I started my own little landscaping outfit when I was like 14. So it was fun to see that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I do in the summers in the Hamptons. But yeah, you know, as to piggyback off of what they were saying in terms of, yeah, it's weird hearing about you and reading about you. And at the same time, I was also hoping for more in terms of like the intimate stuff with you and I, but like that, I know that's reserved for you and I because we just had such a great time together in college and things like that.
Character development, maybe?
No, yeah, no. It was good. It was good. I just, you know, it was weird reading it. And I was also so intrigued at the same time, just going, oh yeah. And then you were like, yeah, no, it's based off of you. And I go, what the? And it's so exciting to read it. And I'm just, you know, it's just so exciting to see the legs that it's carried. And the fact that we're sitting here talking to it with a close group such as ourselves and everything like that. So it's just, it's exciting.
And your character's name, Kenny, was it Corn Nitwit? What was it again?
Kurt?
Kurt Nitro. I needed a K, and then
Nitro. Isn't it funny that now he's a beer drinker? He likes his nitros, I'm sure.
More of a cask ale, but yes.
They're called a cask ale.
Yeah, you set the tone for the coming of age story that my life is. So.
And then, Court, did you have any kind of like visceral reaction to Because your character is
Threw up.
Claire Buckingham.
Yeah, very no visceral reaction. I remember thinking like my mom and sister were sort of in it, and I was like, ooh. Sometimes how maybe they were like, it's true, but it was just interesting to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not like upset about anything. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I do think you're right when you said, Kyle, about like being through your lens, because how different it would be if we were writing it. Because everyone's so wrapped up with your own perception of things that it's funny to read someone else's too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Amelia flailed. What's the word? Flailed in the water, which kind of is accurate to what I would do.
Right.
Yeah.
That is true. You are not a swimmer. Yeah, she had a little shipwreck, and Kurt saved her.
Yep.
Welcome.
Yeah, and in like the second book, which is again the one that I like prefer the most, I think it was, just tried to like up the ante and kind of like think about where those characters would go like next, and I think it's so funny that I still want to do one more, because it's like I still can't let go of it. You know what I mean? And I think now it's because I wrote the second one after we graduated. And now the third one, I'm living in California. So it's kind of funny that I'm doing it. I mean, I know we've all never lived in the same place except for in college, but I'm always writing these books when I'm not with you guys, because it makes me feel like I am. You know what I mean? When I do. And what is also cool is like I was able to spend time in the Hamptons with all of you separately, but Court and Breeze came to visit me that first summer, I think, after college.
We weren't unemployed people.
Yeah, and I had just finished a week of tests at school, so I was just tired. So it probably wasn't the best, but we do like the Hamptons. We were just there.
Oh yeah, you were just there, yeah.
In September.
Then Kenny came to visit. Like I would love if we all would all go at one time. You know what I mean? Like that would be like my dream in life.
I already could picture the photo shoot that you would set up.
Oh my God. I'd hire a photographer.
It would encompass the whole weekend. Speaking about what we were talking about earlier in terms of like the dynamics, right? Kyle and I have always talked about our dynamic at length, I feel, especially when we live together and things like that. And we have always laughed about how effortlessly it worked between him and I. And I think it's one of those things that it's really kind of a testament to like, who we are as people, but like in terms of, you and I are very different. However, it just works.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of strengths that we play off each other. And I think it's just awesome to see your lens and you developing the story and things like that. And that's why I've always been I'm just super excited to support and just super excited to listen to where the story goes. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just one of those things where I'm always fascinated at anyone able to, I don't know, your creativity has always been impressive. And I think that's just one of the things, my brain has never been wired that way. I ran around in circles in high school, literally on a track. So, I mean, like that was like my pastime. So like, it's a whole different brain side of the brain. Check me if I'm wrong.
That was well said, Ken.
That is well said. And to that point, I think that there's things that inspire me about each of you too. And I think like the thing about you, Ken, that inspires me is that like I've seen such a shift in who you have become and who you were, right? And I think that openness to, well, maybe it wasn't necessarily it was a gradual openness, right? It was like, it took you a while to get there. But in the book, like your character is kind of like the unofficial hero. Do you know what I mean? Like he kind of like, because his character goes to the Hamptons to start this business and all he wants to do is like make money so he can pay for school and like leave. And doesn't really think that doesn't have an agenda, a plan to, forge any relationships, right? And I think that I think I admire your kind of like, I don't know if the word is like fortitude, but just kind of like you have just such a great heart. Like I truly, like I never, like when I was in high school, like I had a bunch of friends, but I never had like one best friend. Do you know what I mean? And I honestly don't know if I ever knew what it was like to have a best friend until I met you. Like you really, honestly, like you have, like you really, I think showed me a friendship that I had never experienced before. And I was, you know, like 18, you know, I was like old for, you know, coming into that kind of a dynamic or a relationship. And that was so, it was so nice to have someone that I knew cared about me and that I really cared about, and we could like do fun things with and be different and be our own people, but always come back together at the end, you know?
Totally, buddy. I completely agree with you.
And I think what I admire about Court is her, I think, ambition, because, and again, it's something that like your character, I made friend, like your character, my character, like best friends in high school, which I kind of already talked about. And like, I just knew, like, I think when we met, there was like, oh, I know her. Do you know what I mean? I know this girl. Like, I think I kind of wrote this down that I wanted to tell you guys. I think that like Courtney just felt so familiar, like a kind of like an extended like piece of my family, right? And I think you were the person that I always knew, like in my life, like up until now, like you're always someone that I can, it's just, there's just this familiarity where, I don't know, it's just so nice. Like you're the person that I always knew. I think, Ken, you're the person that I always wanted, right? That friend, that best friend. And Breeze, I think you're the person that I always needed, because you were the one that kind of, again, was my mirror a bit. Like, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I did feel like, you know, no matter how many like friends in high school I had, or up until that point, you're like, wow, but like, she sees me in a way that not anybody else does, you know? And I think that was such a nice way that why we connected. And
Yeah, no, I think that pretty much is a good summary. And I feel kind of the same way. And I think even with all of us, even if we haven't, you know, talked as much as we did in, you know, in college, I think we pick up right where we are, which is the best part of it too.
yeah.
And like you said, Kyle, it's like when you call me, I don't even think we get to the point of what we're even going to talk about, because we're just basically we create a skit with whatever we're talking about, essentially. So
My favorite memory is the Pop-Tart.
that didn't happen.
We had this weird, I was eating a Pop-Tart outside of your door. Like that happened. I was fully eating a Pop-Tart outside of your door. And then like I threw a piece of the crust away. Right? And then you said, oh, what if you had thrown that a little bit higher? And then and it like went in someone's window. And I said, and then she'd be like typing on her computer, and just like catching it in her mouth. And then this is something that never happened, but we always reference the Pop-Tart.
I don't know why, when we talk about it, like it's almost like we talk about it more than our own personal lives.
Oh my God, it just is so funny to me. But that's a good example of our.
Yeah, no, I would say. But
that's like meme worthy. It's incredible. I've never heard that story. That's why I'm just like, what?
Good reference, Ken. You're very current. Well, I would say this is not the first book, a series that has been inspired by me, but it's definitely the first.
Wait, what?
What?
Mic drop.
That's not it. That's not it.
Did Penny tell you to say that?
Nope, that was impressive.
It made sense in my head.
And my standards.
You just said the same thing.
Yeah, I know. I did it wrong.
Go on.
Try it again. You
were not going to be impactful anymore. It's not impactful.
My, how the turntables
have turned. My, how the turntables have turned.
That's sort of what you did, yeah.
I should have written my notes.
Did you? I know that Breeze, you had come with notes. What were you?
No, I didn't write them. They're all up here.
Oh, did you have anything?
I wasn't sure if this was an intervention, so I didn't know what to prepare.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to say?
Can you get Panera to sponsor this?
I can.
Again, say it 3 times.
You say it 3 times, the sandwich appears in front of you.
I think, Kyle, I am super proud of you and all that you have accomplished. You're way more creative than I could ever be. And I do like seeing our little friendship on paper. I think it's fun and exciting and it'll be there forever. And I do think our friendship is effortless. That's just like the best part about it. So I am super proud of you.
Oh, thanks, Court. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's next. And like Courtney said, it's kind of like we're set in stone and forever move on. And
I know. Like, isn't it weird? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
do you
think
think you'll think we'll get a straight to TV series, or will it be a movie?
I mean, whatever they
Sabrina wants Leighton Meester to play her, I feel.
Who?
Oh my God. So
Wait, me?
Yeah.
Where did you pull that from?
I just feel like you would want her to play you.
It's a random pick, but I'm not against it at all.
do you know what's really funny, Court? I always
I thought we're gonna have Maria Menounos play me.
Yes.
Just really.
In the first draft of this book, I wrote down that Court's character was, I think my exact phrasing was Brittany Snow meets Amy Adams. And I don't know why, but that just was I was conjuring that vibe. And I took it out because that's not, you want the audience to kind of infer their own kind of, perception of who somebody is. And I would say that 3 people have told me that they would like Brittany Snow to play you in a thing.
Okay. I like
Who
it.
else? Yeah. So who have you envisioned as the characters in
We are
pop
not going
culture?
since we will not be available.
I don't. Yeah. In case we can't reprise our roles.
Courtney will just untag herself.
Yeah, I would just like die at the beginning. I would just be like, well, I'm out of here.
I would love that. I would love if Brittany Snow would play you. I think that would be great. I always had such a hard time trying to figure out who would play Amelia because, gosh, I don't know. I always kind of thought she would be like a cool, like newcomer, like on the Hollywood scene. Like, I don't know who I would want because they would all have to be around the same age, right? Like,
And we're old now, so they'd have to be.
Yeah, we are old now.
so that would be a thing. Like, if it was being made into something, would it be like kind of post 30s version, or would it, or like a 30s version, or would it be like cast with
Gossip Girl.
19-year-olds? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe what's her name that's married to who's married to Jordan Peele?
I don't know.
No, she's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I can't think of her name.
Let's Google her.
Court, look it up. Kenny, who would you want to play you?
I option myself. No.
Great.
Kramer.
I was
Michael Richards.
She'll be like 30 years older than every other character.
Yeah.
we were just in Delaware, so I may just have Ryan Felipe on the mind, but I'm just thinking he would also be a good just
Kenny, I thought Ashton Kutcher would have been good for back then.
But we're mature now.
I know, but I thought we're thinking, well, I mean, yeah.
I know. I mean, it's hard.
Chelsea Peretti is married.
Oh.
Chelsea Peretti, yeah.
I don't even know who that is. I have to look her up. But you know what's so funny is like, hopefully one day it does become adapted, right? There's been conversations about it that I've had with like some people like in like the industry about it, and they're like, okay, well, because this was also written in 2009, right? And the entertainment landscape is much more like diverse now. We could make it more like a diverse cast and make it
Yeah, and you could do Jordan Peele instead of his wife for me then.
in a wig.
Joe Keery. Stranger Things. Steve.
Oh yeah, Joe Keery, yeah. Joe Keery would be a good one.
There you go, Kyle. Get on it.
All right. Let's see if we can throw it together.
No, I'm just kind of piggybacking again off of what everyone said. I mean, it's cool to see it on paper. It's cool to see it still continue. It's amazing out of all the dynamics and friendships that I have forged over time, and even professionally. I can call anyone here and it can just kind of pick up where we left off, and not much time has passed.
Yeah.
Sabrina, it's been a while, but last time when you and I hung out, it was something that I was like, man, it feels like no time has flown by, and it does, and it was just, at least that's how it felt for me. And it's like one of those things where it's just, I'm never really had that last, even with even some of my track friends from high school who we were all super close with. And so it's been really cool to see that dynamic and everything like that. And I'm just grateful for all the relationships that I've had with all of you, and the fact that we have because I'm proud of my growth as an individual in terms of who I used to be and who I kind of have been becoming, and because of you guys, I think you guys play a huge role in that. And I think it's just, as Courtney said, it's just cool to see it on paper in terms of a different lens on it, and just paying an homage to it. So, so I'm grateful for the creativity, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of it's almost like, even though we met when we were 18, we were still kids basically. So we grew up together, and we have a lot of the same similarities and personality traits of when we knew each other, but we're also grown adults now that have lives and homes and things like that. So it's interesting to see that, how we are able to stay connected through this, even though we're not all living, obviously not even in the same coast with Kyle. So
and that there's no never any competition with any of us. I always want, and I know that you guys feel the same way too, we always want what's just the highest good for each of us, right? We're each other's biggest, and that's what friendship is, to be each other's biggest cheerleaders, and just it's just such a nice, I'm just so grateful. So
hands in.
And it's fun if you tell people that you are in a book or you were inspired.
Exactly.
I had to get a ride home today because my car's getting worked on, and I said, "Oh, I have this."
I'm on a podcast.
On a podcast tonight with my friend. He wrote a book about us. She's like, "Oh, that's so cool."
I know, and it's crazy. I don't think about, surprisingly, my legacy too much in terms of this book, but in 20 years, it'll still be in print, and our kids could I don't know, read it.
I can't wait to read the third one.
Yeah. Oh, it's just fun.
Is there any other things we should say? Panera.
Was there a part? I don't know if was there a part in the book that particularly stood out to you? Any part of any of the books that you guys?
The beginning.
The middle, and then the end.
I think the dedication was my favorite part.
Yeah, me too.
I cry every time. I do.
Because you can't read.
If it does get, turned into something sensational, we'll all go on a big trip together.
Yeah, when I see that money come through.
Yeah, exactly. After you get your payouts.
The royalties.
Right.
I've typed in my routing instructions in the chat.
Thank you so much. So goodbye.
Bye. Great seeing everyone.